I want to start off the show today, Neil, with
Mm-hmm.
a quote. With a quote,
Oh, okay.
and of course, it's from Michael Jordan. Right?
Oh,
Get
Michael
this.
Jordan. Wow. Okay.
Some people want it to happen. Some wish it would happen. Others make it happen. And
Mm-hmm.
that's exactly what this fucking team is doing right now. Welcome back, folks.
Making it happen.
Monday morning here on Flames Cast. It's myself with Neil. And if there's one thing that kind of remained consistent for most of the year, it's the fact that we were kind of right that it was going to come down to the last week. I don't think if you asked us maybe a week or two ago if that was possible, but for whatever reason, they have made it possible. So,
Yes.
first of all, Neil, hope all is well. Hope you had a great weekend. I haven't seen you in a little
Yeah.
bit, so hope all is
Yeah.
good.
No, I had a good weekend. It's obviously again. I mention this every episode because I feel like that even though like people know it at this point, but like obviously I do cover the Devils as well, and it's a weird spot because you can definitely tell that like certain teams are just kind of like they really don't care about these last couple of games. Like yesterday was a snooze fest against the
Oh,
Islanders. It
God,
was
yes, it
boring.
was.
It was I hate to say it in these terms, it was like a waste of my time
Yeah,
to
okay.
physically be there. So
Okay.
it's kind of like I think John Buccigross even said today, like, make the season shorter, but also look at the opposite of like what we have in the Western Conference playoff
It's
race, where
completely
every
changed.
freaking game matters. Like literally every game
Yeah.
matters, and I love that.
And
I love
and
that.
it all kind of started on Friday. We're not going to recap the game on Friday because it's
No,
just too far back. We saw, obviously, we're going to talk about what happened yesterday. It all really, in terms of desperation and this is it, you can't lose anymore. It all started Friday where they needed it. Unfortunately, they didn't get the help on Saturday either, which kind of sucked because the Canucks can't do their job. And I mean, the
the
Kraken
Canucks can't do
out.
their job. Okay,
Yeah, whatever.
right.
It is what it is, right? But there is all of a sudden a window and it's starting to creak more and more open and it's there for the taking and
It is
the stars are kind of aligning a little bit because of the way it's all worked
not
out.
the
So
Dallas Stars, but the
yeah,
stars above.
not the
Stars
Dallas
above.
Stars. You couldn't do the Dallas Stars. So
No.
before we get into the race coming up here on Tuesday, let's talk about what we saw last night. So it all started
Mhm.
again yesterday where you had to reset. You had a big win on Friday against Minnesota. It was a must win. You could not lose that game. They get the job done. And then it felt like a massive trap game going into yesterday against San Jose. And for a bit of the first period, it was a bit of a trap game as the Sharks took advantage of this team. And I think the shots were 12-2 at one point in the first
Yeah,
period. They were absolutely terrible.
15-6 by the
Something
end of
like
it.
that. Tyler Toffoli at one point, though, he got a rebound, made it, whatever.
Yeah.
Got a chance to bury it there on Wolf on a rebound. Made it 1-0. Mackenzie Weegar blasts home his what is that? His eighth, I think I'm reading here. Yeah, his
Mhm.
eighth of the year. It was a great tee up shot there. And one of the surprises really coming out of nowhere from a fourth line, and they decide that, you know what, this is actually working kind of well, is Adam Klapka, who they put on the first line with Kadri and Huberdeau, makes a massive impact. And they basically tell him that, hey, park your 7'2" ass in front of the net and stay there. And that's how you're going to contribute. And it worked yesterday.
Yeah.
As he gets his fifth of the year, he's been on a bit of a roll lately. They get a 2-1 lead. Ruda goes back the other way as all of a sudden they made it 2-2. And the guy that we've been asking and begging for the most to step up here late with Sharangovich, and he's done it again for the second game in a row. He did it off a tip on Friday against Minnesota. He does it
Mhm.
yesterday against the Sharks. Coronado continues his great year. He gets the 24th and the insurancer. Sharangovich gets the empty netter, and believe it or not, that's his 17th goal of the year, and it doesn't feel like it at all.
It felt like more like his seventh goal of the year.
Exactly. Nonetheless, the Flames sweep the season series versus the San Jose Sharks. They win at 5-2 in a must win, and it all sets up for what's going to be a magical Tuesday night, as it should. It was a crazy day in sports yesterday. We're going to get to that
Yeah.
much more. But Neil, they're still hanging around, man. They're still hanging around.
That they are, and they just keep finding different ways to win, which is awesome. I think they make it really. They really show that collective effort, and I think that you could have easily been worried about. Sharks got the first goal. They were clearly outplaying the Flames in the entire first period, but they got through it. They got through that wave, and then they just settled into their game, and they really just they found different ways to get it going. Jan Rutta ties the game, 2-2, and it's frustrating because you felt like in the second and third periods, the Flames were the better team. You felt like they settled in more. And giving up that goal in the second period, it felt a little bit deflated, like a little bit.
Yeah.
Especially because Rutta just came back, by the way. He had been out
Right.
for several months with an injury. But we talked about it last week, and I said it, numerous times. I need Sharangovich to step up.
Yeah.
And sure enough, he did. For as you mentioned, the second game in a row. I don't know what changed or what has changed, but regardless of it, he found a way to get it done, and that's awesome. And I really love it. And I thought that Dustin Wolf had another strong game. And I should mention, Kyle, I saw this today on the NHL's public relations Twitter account. Dustin Wolf is currently tied for the third most wins by a U.S.-born rookie goaltender in NHL history. He needs one more to tie John Gibson and Alex Nedeljkovic for second all-time. Jimmy Howard has the most with 38. I feel like this isn't really much of a question, but I feel like that it's pretty certain that Wolf is going to play these final 3 games here to help his team get in. Two, excuse me.
Yeah.
So he can't obviously break the record, but the best he could do is take these final 2 games and,
Yeah. Well, don't forget.
I'm just saying, I know that Lane Hutson's had a great year. He has. We can't deny how great he's been for Montreal. But if Dustin Wolf isn't at least a finalist, I'm going to be upset.
He'll be a finalist, and I think it's a foregone conclusion that Lane Hutson's going to be.
Yeah.
Well, but here's the thing. People have said it before. Analysts have said it before, and Elliot Friedman has actually said this before too, is if for some reason they get in, Wolf deserves the Calder. And I don't hate that. My belief is that Lane Hutson's probably going to win it, just the way that I've seen the trajectory of it. I think that's the way it's going to go. Nonetheless, last time Daniel Vladar played was that was the overtime win. Shootout win, my mistake, in Colorado 2 Mondays ago. 2 weeks ago. He hasn't played for 2 weeks. So it's an understatement. They've been in do or die mode really since then. And that's why Dustin Wolf has been getting all the starts. He's going to get the start on Tuesday. And he's going to get the start on Thursday if they're still 100%. In it. It's a must win to get in kind of thing. So they need a little bit of help on Tuesday. We'll get into it. But just looking at last night, he was the reason yet again this team was in it. It could have been a blowout there in the first period. He kept them in it again in the first period when the Sharks should have had 3 goals in the first period. They were clobbering them.
For sure.
I thought watching that third period, the Flames had control the entire time outside of giving them the power play there, which, Blake Coleman, you can't do that for, I think it was high sticking, if I'm not mistaken, or slashing. I thought the Flames controlled that third period all the way through. I thought they were masterful that way. I thought they played to their standards. I thought they played to their identity again. And for everybody who's been barking on Husker recently, that's the way you have to coach this team in order to win games. That's just it. That's the way they've been doing it. And also add a little bit of hint of desperation in there. And all of a sudden they scored 5 goals yesterday. So it was important. Obviously you needed to. Your season was on the line again. This was a game where you can't find a way to lose here. And I thought they did a tremendous job yesterday in terms of just, it took a little bit to get settled in, but they did it the right way. And more importantly, I think, and this is maybe a good thing going into Tuesday, I think this was a good thing to happen to them early on in the first period where they were getting shelled by San Jose, right? Yeah. And now you go into Tuesday and Huska, he said it in the locker room afterwards. He's like, guys, didn't love the start, love the finish. Got to be better on Tuesday. Reset. Let's go.
And that honestly just, Huska constantly just keeps it simple. I think that's really the way he looks at it. Like I look back to the game against, I think it was Anaheim, and it might have been Anaheim or San Jose. There was a little behind the scenes thing after they won. And he just simply said, you guys effing did it. You guys just did it.
You guys just did it.
I think that's what makes him so, I think that's why this team, plays so well for him, is that he keeps it simple for them. And he constantly gives them that calm, presence that even when they're going through struggles, they're finding ways to get out of it. And like you
Yes.
said, first period didn't like it, but they got through it. They got through it and they found a way to win the game. And that's really all that matters at this point. It's about getting the maximum points the rest of the way. And the great thing about it right now is that, we're looking at just 2 games left to go in the year. These are 2 winnable games, in my opinion, because the reason that the only thing that'll be interesting is if LA does not.
Yeah, well,
LA,
God.
they could tonight, I believe they can tonight clinch home ice in the first round if they
Right.
can get it done tonight. Which then would make it feel a little bit better going into the last game of the year if the Flames are still in it. That are the Kings going to, sit a bunch of guys? How are they going to go about it? But I think regardless, these are 2 games that, simply put, you have to win. There's just no other way to look at it except you got to win both of these games, and I think they very well can with the way that they've been playing of late.
The Kings are in Edmonton tonight. It will decide who has home ice advantage going into the playoffs. So if the Kings get the job done tonight, it is very possible that they go into Thursday's game resting. The important thing is
I
that
need the Kings to win. I need the Kings to win tonight.
The Golden Knights have locked down the Pacific Division title. They have nothing to play for now, so that's important going into Tuesday. And I'm very curious to see what type of lineup they're going to have as well on Tuesday. I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think that's the last game of the Golden Knights season. I'm just double checking here. It's their second to last game. They play a back-to-back with the Flames and the Canucks. So it is their second to last game. But again, that's the next Golden Knights game actually is coming up on Tuesday against Calgary. So I'm very curious. Well, it's going to be a day. So kind of falling out of this a bit. Any other final thoughts really on this game? I thought whatever, like they just needed to get it done.
I think it just goes back to what Husk is saying, get better start. You got to get off to a better, especially when you're playing Vegas. I don't care who's playing or who's not playing on Tuesday. You got to just come out with a better start. You have to.
So that leads into what's going to be a very busy day on Tuesday. So this is the simplest way I could find it and put it, and we got to bring it up from for each year. So Tuesday, first of all, schedules. Wild at home to Anaheim at 8 o'clock Eastern time for those of you listening out in Mountain Time or whatever. And then the Blues will host Utah also at 8 o'clock Eastern. The Flames will not play until 9, an hour later, against Vegas. It's very possible they know their fate, maybe going into the third period. It's possible that they know, and I would guess if it's a close game and either one of those teams lose or one of the conditions is met, which we'll get into, that's going to light a fire for them in the third period, which, again, you alluded it to, is that they need to start off right here in the first period. Right. So here's how it's all going to break down. On Tuesday, mention the teams playing each other. Flames get Golden Knights, Blues, and Utah, Wild, and the Ducks. Wild need 1 point to clinch, and that is it. They hold the tiebreaker against the Blues, doesn't matter there, and they also hold it against Calgary, which is more important. Sure. Wild need 1 point. Blues need to win in regulation to clinch. If they win if that game goes to overtime, it forces Calgary to win in regulation Tuesday and on Thursday as well in LA. The best possible scenario here for the Flames, if you're looking for the best path, is the Blues lose in regulation. The Wild at this point, that's the only thing you can hope. You can only hope for them to lose, right? That's it. If they get a point, they're in, and it doesn't matter.
Sure.
My belief is that they probably won't leapfrog the Wild, okay?
No.
Because regardless, they would have to win both games coming up. In any fashion to leapfrog the Wild, they have to win both games.
Correct.
So the easiest path is going to be this for Calgary. If the St. Louis Blues lose in regulation to Utah, it allows Calgary then to only need 3 points, where you can win however any sort of fashion and collect a point if you get to overtime. So that's why Tuesday, if they get to overtime and they see that St. Louis loses in regulation, then Thursday is everything.
Right.
Thursday is your season. So
win or lose in that regard. And
is there a lot that needs to go their way Tuesday? Yes.
Yes.
Is it doable? Absolutely it is.
I don't think it's that much. I don't personally believe that it's as much of a guarantee that Minnesota can get a point. I could see the Ducks upsetting them,
I
which
can see it too.
that would be the weirdest scenario. The weirdest scenario would be Wild don't get a point, period, and the Blues, I don't know, get a regulation win. At that point, it would be very weird going into that final game because then, you know, it's that Thursday game's going to be huge regardless. I think it'll be huge regardless because I think, however you want to look at this,
I have a question afterwards. Go ahead.
yeah. However you want to look at this, I would like to see the team finish the year really strong. I think it would
And
be
they
great
have.
if they
Frankly, they have.
and I think if they can win tomorrow, right, and then win on Thursday, even if it's not meant to be, this has been nothing short of phenomenal what we've seen from this Flames team all year.
One win
At this-
away from 40. Do
But
you think with LA tonight, even if they don't clinch home ice, it'll be their last game of the year? Do you think that they would go full roster for Thursday, even if they would have? Yeah, you're playing for home ice. Like I would
Sure.
imagine. Would you imagine they probably line up a full roster?
I don't think so. I'm not saying that like 4 or 5 guys are not going to dress.
Sure.
I just think that anybody of significance who might be dealing with something, even something minor,
No,
they
because
will-
you play Saturday more than likely,
Just
right?
right. And that's the way I look at it, is that how often do these teams get an opportunity to rest guys at this point in the year
Right.
to be ready for the playoffs? And that's the way that I look at it. You know, look at the Oilers, right? It's not a guarantee, by the way, that Leon Draisaitl plays tonight for Edmonton.
Sure.
So,
Yeah, they want to make sure, like for Edmonton, it's more. What's more important, getting home ice or making sure that your two biggest stars
I think it's more just being healthy.
being
honestly.
healthy? Exactly. Well, now, like we'll get into the news later. Maybe we'll talk about it later because I have it on the docket with Ekholm being injured. Yeah, like I wonder, and I'm very curious what the mindset will be going to Thursday if it doesn't go their way tonight for the LA Kings, right? Because yeah, you do have something to play for because you want to have home ice, but at the same time, what's more important? You probably would rather be healthy. And if you think about it, yeah, it's important having home ice, but you can take advantage early in that series if you don't have it, take a game or two, and have home ice back in LA for games 3 and 4.
Exactly.
So that's the way I see it.
But again, let's keep it very simple.
Yeah.
For everybody.
Correct.
Regardless of how things go beyond the Flames' control, the best thing that they can do is win these final 2 games.
Yeah.
Regardless of whether they're in or not. Because winning the last 2 games gives you, at least from controlling your own destiny, the maximum opportunity to get in. Even if you don't, you end the year on a 3-game heater.
Right.
Which honestly you could take into next season and say, you know, we proved that we could stay in the hunt and be in a playoff race the entire year, despite not being a full, like, developed team yet.
You got it.
You know, that's the way I look at it. So,
and to think like they're going to get 40 wins, they could get, they're 1 win away from 40 wins, by the way. And that alone is like mind blowing, right?
Exactly.
And then you take the 14 overtime losses and shootout losses, a bit more skill, and all of a sudden this team has 45 to 47 wins. You know what I mean? Like that's
we wouldn't even, and we wouldn't even be talking about this right now.
We wouldn't be having this conversation.
We would be like, we would be getting ready to get in, to be ready, and you know, and that's
they'd be ready for the playoffs. That's the crazy
thing.
So.
Look, there's nothing you could do about it now, you know. And I think the Flames, I know it's going to be hard for them not to scoreboard watch. I mean, the fans will do it themselves.
The fans will do it, but they won't know. Like they'll refuse. I think if I'm operating at the arena or whatever, wouldn't you not want to have it on the scoreboard just so the guys can fucking focus on the game?
Yeah, for sure. I don't think you want to distract the team from the goal of let's just win the hockey game today.
Gotta win, right? None of this happens if they don't win in regulation. None of this happens. None of this matters.
They lose in regulation. It doesn't matter what happened the other way, and it'll just put them in an unreachable situation. So I think for the Flames, it's got to just be simply go win, and you know what? However the cards come out is how
All,
it comes out.
yeah.
So, you
I
know,
don't think I don't think it's crazy that Thursday could be winning in. I don't think it's crazy
which
to
is
say.
which is exactly as a player what you want. You want to be able to control your own destiny and know that, like, hey, we
That's
win this
how I
game,
want to,
we're in.
and that's how I want to get out. If they were to get out on any reason, I want to be the one controlling it, right? I don't
Right.
want any other teams
Yeah.
controlling our fate. I want to be the one to control it,
Right.
right?
Exactly.
So it's possible the Wild falter. It's possible the Blues falter as well too. And it's possible that Vegas goes in, and I think everybody wants to know what the lineup's going to be for Vegas going into Tuesday night because they're on a back-to-back, and they don't want to. They have nothing to play for. So what's the point in bringing guys over? I mean, you're basically just getting healthy, getting ready for Saturday, right? Because now it's the long and grueling playoff run. Like you got to be healthy for it. So that's the way I see it, and I think that they're more than likely going to rest up some guys. I think that's
Yeah.
going to be. I thought it was crucial that Vegas clinched number one in the Pacific. So lots of things to be played out here in the next 24 hours. And the fact that we're even here is like laughable at this. It's just funny.
It is really funny how we're even in this point. Because even last week, right? You think about what we were talking about literally last week when it came to just like what our expectations were and what we were feeling.
Yeah.
It's a different energy a week later, just with like the whole mood of like where we are. And it's like, hey, we could do this. We can do this. And I will just, I keep saying it to be fair, is that look, regardless, even if they don't make it, it's been one hell of a year for this team. It really has been.
I've made the commitment to. If for some reason it comes down on Thursday, I gotta be live at 10
I don't think you're right. I don't think
I don't have a choice anymore.
Yeah, I agree. Season's on the effing line at that point.
Season's on the line again coming up on Tuesday. We will, I think, right now, just quickly looking at the notes here. No, we actually have one more thing we're going to look at here. Is I think we need to do our weekly standings check going into the final week.
Sure.
Even though we won't touch on it too much because we did just kind of talk about it for the last 20 minutes on where this team's at. So we'll take a look at both conferences. We do know some more matchups actually going into the playoffs starting this weekend, which is pretty exciting as well. One of them being, well, we don't have to mention the Devils one. We did that one already. Plus, we knew that, we knew that 6-7 weeks ago.
Of course, we knew that. Yeah.
The one that's official as well, too, is the Dallas Stars will be taking on the Colorado Avalanche in the first round. And it appears that, Colorado's season is over. 82 games. Oh, all right. So the Avalanche's season is over, and Dallas will have home ice.
How did that happen?
I don't know. They played the Ducks last night, I think. Anyway, Dallas has home ice. The Jets have won the President's Trophy due to the Capitals losing last night. So the Winnipeg Jets.
First round exit. Yep. Let's keep going.
I know, right? Again, we mentioned
the Flames, by the way. We're getting in and we're giving them a first round exit.
I think so. Golden Knights do end up locking down the Pacific Division title. They're going to wait to play whoever finishes in the top wildcard spot. If the Wild end up winning on Tuesday, then the Minnesota Wild will take on the Golden Knights in round one on Tuesday. If it goes that way, poor souls indeed. What else here? Let's take a look quickly at the Eastern Conference. With the Leafs win last night, it almost assures that
the Leafs have the tiebreaker.
And the Leafs have if they had the tiebreaker, then they would have clinched the division title already. Florida cannot win the division right now, so Florida is pretty much locked in there with Tampa Bay. And I think they still have to jockey for home ice there, but it looks like Tampa's going to take on
Toronto's very lucky that they got going, because otherwise they were going to play Tampa.
Well, regardless, you're going to have to get through one of them.
Yeah, right? Of course.
You're going to have to get.
You have to. Yeah, 100%.
Ottawa, right?
Yeah.
Speaking of which, too, Ottawa, who has locked down a playoff spot as well. The Columbus Blue Jackets are staying alive. They are now all of a sudden 3 points behind Montreal with 2 games to play.
Because of the 2 games against the Capitals. So Saturday they blow out the Capitals because they weren't trying.
7-0.
And then they blew them out again in Washington 4-1. They've scored 11 goals in the last 2 games. And I have to be so honest. If the Canadians blow this, like literally blow this, I kind of wonder if you fire someone getting fired. I don't know. Like, it just feels like you need like literally what, 1 point?
A win. I think if you look at regulation,
I think it actually. I think I saw it.
Well,
today.
What's the column here? Regulation wins at 37 for Montreal. So, I
got it.
Does that make sense? No?
So literally, the Canadians clinch a playoff berth and end this if they beat the Blackhawks in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, because they collect 2 points. Yeah. Yeah, so the Montreal Canadiens can end it. They can also end it. They can also end it if Columbus just loses.
Yeah.
By the way, too. So that still has to be decided as well. Whoever claims the final wildcard spot, if Montreal can clinch it tonight, that will lock in Washington versus Montreal. I think the only thing that needs to be decided for Ottawa and Toronto to be locked in is I believe the Leafs still have to find a way to lock up that number 1 spot, because I think Ottawa really doesn't have the tiebreaker to or they do actually have the tiebreaker to Florida because of regulation wins. Correct. So interesting. So they do have the tiebreaker. So still some things to be played out. It's possible they catch up. It's possible they don't, but it feels like the playoff brackets are almost set with regards to what Columbus and Montreal are doing here, and then also what the hell is going to happen here on Tuesday in the wild card race.
Yeah, it's really fascinating, because I don't think that anybody thought that we'd be looking at, Calgary still in it at this point. But it's great. It's great that literally their entire season has mattered, right? You go to the final week of the season and we're still talking about it. We're not sitting here looking at it like, it's whatever. It's like, no, like they're right there. They're right there. And it's exciting. And I think it would be really funny if St. Louis were to not make it, because then the 2 wildcard teams both have well above 10, like minus 10 goal differential.
And that 12-game win streak all of a sudden is gone.
That's the thing. It's like you have this 12-game winning streak. If it wasn't for that, the Flames, I think, would have already clinched or pretty damn close to it.
They probably would have clinched. That's the thing.
Yeah, that's the issue, isn't it? So, but look, you can only control what you can control, right? And that's really what it's going to come down to.
And frankly, too, they've played well in these last couple of games to still be in it. So I got to give kudos to them.
They're winning the games that they are supposed to be winning.
Yes, and it's going to make Tuesday very, very, very exciting to end the season with still a game to go on Thursday. So let's take a break. We'll come back on the other side. We've got some signings from the Calgary Flames to announce. We also have some other news in the NHL regarding Ekholm, Demidov, and more. And I said it last week, we were going to talk about the Masters at the very end of the show, and that's exactly what we're going to do. We'll be back on the other side. Ready to win some real cash during the basketball and NHL playoffs this year? Check out Pick 6 from DraftKings. When it comes to basketball and hockey payouts, DraftKings Pick 6 posterizes the competition, including prize picks. Hit all your picks and score higher minimum payouts on Pick 6, plus even more cash if you outscore the competition. Pick 6 is available in most states, including Missouri, California, Texas, Georgia, and more. New players get $50 in Pick 6 credits. 50 points in Pick 6 credits instantly on just a $5 entry. Download the DraftKings Pick 6 app now and use code THPN. That's code THPN for new customers to play $5. Get $50 in Pick 6 credits. Better payouts, bigger wins, only with Pick 6 from DraftKings. The crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, 21 and over. Age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/ice.
Alrighty, let's get into it. We got some more signings to show you, lovely people, today, and tell you guys. As of recent, thank you to Neil, who was on top of it as always. Two notable transactions as the Frozen Four has come to an end. Congratulations to the Western Michigan Mustangs on winning it, by the way. But the first one that we wanted to show off here is we mentioned it before. Arseny Sergeyev from Penn State has signed a 2-year, two-way contract beginning next year with an AAV of $866,000. So Sergeyev now in the lineup here. He is now the fourth goaltender under contract here for the Calgary Flames outside of Dustin Wolf, Daniel Ladar, Devin Cooley.
Logan Cooley.
Nope.
I love Logan Cooley on the Flames.
And it's now Sergeyev. We talked about it before. I think this is a great thing to see because now you're going to see the development really come in, and he might be a guy that can one day potentially back up Dustin Wolf here. And you can see like it might be a really good 1-2 punch going forward here. It depends what they do with Ladar, and you see what Cooley becomes in the AHL. Thoughts on Sergeyev getting signed?
Yeah, I mean, I think he earned it. I think he had a really strong season at Penn State. Got the Nittany Lions to the Frozen Four. Unfortunately, they couldn't get past Boston University, but nonetheless, I think he had a really good year. I spoke to several people, who had been watching him at Penn State throughout the year, and they said that, this kid is a little bit of a project, but giving him time, especially with a 2-year contract, I think is good for his development. And you look at the success again. You look at the success of Dustin Wolf this year. Even Devin Cooley had a pretty solid year with the Wranglers, all things considered. I think that there's a path for him. I think we'll definitely see him at development camp, probably at training camp. Maybe I could be wrong. I don't know how they're going to go about it. But no, it's good to lock down these guys, these young guys that you've drafted, and you're seeing them, and now he's going to get a chance to take the next step in his career.
I like that this is a project for them, right? Because you never know what can happen down the road if God forbid Wolf gets injured or something like that. It's something you want to avoid, and you want to make sure that it's still a good 1-2 system. And I think this is still a good project to have, and it's a 2-year window, and you got basically 2 years to work on this project and see what he can become.
For sure.
Cool.
So,
all right, good signing, and then hometown kid.
Why is Butts trending in Canada?
I don't even know.
I don't want to actually. I don't want to know. Keep going.
We don't want to know that. Calgary kid though, out of the University of Denver, Carter King has signed a 1-year, 2-way contract beginning next year at $872,000. He is a 2-time NCAA champion, captaining Denver in the NCAA. I like the signing. To be honest, he is a centerman, which is good. Which is what.
Is he a draft pick of Calgary?
He is not.
That's why it's a 1-year deal. Okay.
Yes, he is not. He's not a draft pick because he went in. I believe he went in undrafted, if I'm not mistaken, or he hasn't. Maybe that's the case. He was anyway.
He's also a little bit on the older side, so he can't sign like a 2 or 3 year entry level deal.
Yeah. So he's had a great career in Denver, and they're going to bring him up for the Wranglers as the Wranglers are going to get started soon with their playoff run. They actually clinched recently as well, so the Wranglers are in, and we
have to talk about them when the playoffs get underway.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, it's something we can kind of take a look at. See who the Flames decide to put down and decide, hey, if you want to still play more hockey, go play for the Wranglers. See what kind of run we can do there. Carter King, anyway, good centerman. Good that he's captain the University of Denver, and I'm excited. I mean, it's only a 1-year deal, so not a long runway here, but you're going to see what he's going to be able to do here in the AHL, and I hope that there's there's just something that you can kind of look at after these AHL playoffs are done. You can go and look at his play and go, okay, this is somebody who might look good in camp.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea to send him to the Wranglers, right away and get him acclimated with not only, playing in Calgary, because one of the benefits is obviously like you're playing essentially in the same, you are playing in the same city. So I mean, you already can get acclimated there, and you're getting thrown right into the playoffs after you just went to the Frozen Four. And you had that long season, so you're already kind of in that playoff mode. And it's good for Carter King because, like you said, he went undrafted, big body kid, can play physical. Definitely a guy I could see being a top 9 type of power forward. I think that's the way that I look at it. And he brings a lot of championship experience. I know it's the NCAA, but still
means something, man.
Exactly. He's a guy that a lot of people respect. So I think he's a welcome addition to the Wrangler team who is making that push and, getting ready for the playoffs. And we'll definitely keep our eye on him once the playoffs get underway.
You got it. So that's pretty much it for Flames news until whatever we see happen on Tuesday.
We'll know a lot, guys. We'll know a lot more by Thursday.
Oh, man, it's going to be a while.
We may not. We may still be like, we don't know yet.
Well, so here's the funny thing. In terms of getting ready for tomorrow night, there actually is some news of relevance going into, we mentioned it earlier with the Kings and Oilers tonight, because that could end up mattering going into Thursday. Chris Knobloch came out and he actually it was from Elliot Friedman literally 3 minutes ago. And oh boy, it's a list from Edmonton here. So let's go through this together. So Ekholm will not play in the first round. There isn't a timeline for him. Wallman is day-to-day. Hyman and McDavid are not in tonight. So no McDavid or Hyman tonight, which I think is crucial for if you're a Flames fan looking at this and saying, okay, the Kings can lock it down. They don't have to play anybody on Thursday. Might help Calgary's case a little bit more. So anyway, you can read through the rest of that list here, but God damn, this Oilers team is hurt. And
this is why. See, now I know why Quinn Hudson signed.
Yes,
because like when he signed it first, my reaction was why.
Right.
Like it seemed a little early, but I feel it was out of a matter of necessity.
So they don't even know if like Frederick's not playing. Of course, there's no Kane. Like they're gonna expect, I think, Draisaitl plays, and I don't even know if
Kings need to play everybody. The Kings got to play everybody tonight. I don't
even think Draisaitl's playing tonight. So if anything,
I don't think like
there's no excuses for the Kings.
This is going to be the Oilers from like 2011.
Yeah. Yep. So no excuses anymore from LA. So just
if you don't win tonight, LA, like that's a problem.
It's like fuck you guys.
Also, you know what we messed up? It might give like Oilers confidence, like, oh, we could beat them without literally anyone in the lineup.
It's true. It's very true.
It's all scary. Let's be honest. The Kings Stanley Cup right now is beating the Edmonton Oilers in the first round of the playoffs.
Hey, they've been playing well though, right?
They have, for sure.
Well. I would give them a run for their money if they end up.
Darcy Kemper is going to be the difference in that series, the way I look at it.
Oh, totally. So. And if Quentin Byfield shows up too.
Elliot Friedman's got to be lucky that he is verified on Twitter, because there is no way he could have put this together in 200 words, 200 characters or less, because this is crazy.
It's a lot.
I love how Nugent Hopkins is the only one that's like, yeah, he's going to play. Everyone else,
I know.
Maybe.
But it's concerning that like there's so many guys hurt.
So many. Josh Brown got called up. That's how depleted they are.
Yeah. Very, very, very depleted. Yeah. Very depleted out in
Trent Frederick, by the way, in my opinion, is probably one of the most unnecessary moves of the deadline, because the man has barely played.
Right.
Done nothing.
And we don't even know if he's going to be fully healthy going into the weekend for the start of the playoffs. We have no idea. One more.
So I wanted to drop this in really quick, Kyle, because it involves the Trent Frederick trade. Remember, it was a 3-way trade between Boston, Edmonton, and New Jersey.
Yes.
The Devils ended up getting Shane LeChance, who's the captain of Boston University. His dad also, by the way, is a scout with the Devils. Fun fact. I think it might have been Elliot Friedman that said that Shane LeChance, before he got traded, he had no intentions of signing with Edmonton. He was not going to. He was going to test free agency. He's going to sign with the Devils on an entry level. I don't know when it. So I just thought that was interesting. He was like, No, not going to.
Not happening.
I wonder why.
Other NHL news around the league: Ivan Demidov is slated to be in the lineup tonight as well too for the Montreal Canadiens. That kind of brings back the question again:
The
why
hype
fans,
around this guy is insane.
it's wild. And do you think it's crazy how people showed up to the airport in
Yes.
person in Toronto?
Yes.
That's insanity. Like, what are you doing in your life?
Let me backtrack for a second. This happens a lot in European soccer, where like big name players will transfer or move to another club and they'll be at the airport. But I do agree, little weird.
It's so weird. Get a life. Get a fucking
Get a
life.
life.
Oh my god, get a life. Oh my
Yeah.
god, it's so weird.
Get a life.
So it does bring back the question.
Yeah.
You haven't seen Suniev or Parekh really get. They have been getting reps, which is good, but they're not going to get in the lineup here. I still fully agree, and I'm fully on board with the fact that they don't play until they're done, because that's what this team's been rewarded with this year. That's what they've been rewarded with for a team that was supposed to be bottom 3 in the league. They now find themselves game 81, still in a chance to get into the playoffs. That's how you're going to reward this team. You have to set a foundation. You have to set a culture. That's exactly what Huska and Conroy have done, and I am fully behind it. I think it's ridiculous. Like, I understand the frustration from fans wanting Parekh and wanting Suniev to play. Like, oh my God, Parekh would be miles and miles better than Jake Bean.
We don't know that.
Like,
we don't know that.
Exactly. You don't know that. Like, you really
don't want to rock the boat either. I don't want to say rock the boat. You don't want to take guys out of the lineup who have been there all year.
They have put their friggin' bodies on the line all year, only for what? Huska to go up and say, hey, thanks for doing that all year for us.
Huska's not going to do that. Huska's not going to do that. He's loyal to his guys for sure.
Unless there's an injury, then somebody comes in.
Like if he's forced into a position where he has to do it, he has to do it.
Yeah.
Who cares?
I don't like the fact that people have been kind of pestering nonstop to see Parekh in this lineup. It's like, you're gonna see him play. It might not be this year. Maybe they play him on Thursday if they're done. If they're done tomorrow night, then they'll probably see him play on Thursday, and that's fine for me. That gets him one game.
Yeah.
And, okay, this is what the NHL is like, man. Like, so like he's gonna play.
Yeah, for sure.
It might be this year, it might be next year, but God damn it, they have put their bodies on the line all year. You have to set the culture and foundation up front that this is who we are, and this is the type of team that we're going to run,
100%.
And it still gives the young guys a chance to watch, to evaluate, and to still recognize, like, okay, these are some of the things that I need to do. And the best thing is that they can still practice with these guys, right? This is what a full NHL practice is like. Let's get up to tempo here.
I think they could travel with the team if they wanted to.
And they have been traveling with the team. In the celebration room yesterday, Zane Parekh and Suniev were right outside the door there with Huska, who just kind of leaned in. He said, great job. And so they're there in it, and they get a chance to see, like, okay, like, this is what it could be like, right? And this is what it's going to be like. And that's something that I think is only going to give them more inspiration to be a part of, right? And if anything, hey, if you're Parekh or anything, like, it's like, okay, yeah, it's a bit of a bummer if I don't play, but it's going to give me more inspiration to be on this team next year.
Exactly.
So there you go. That's going to wrap it up with Hockey Talk today. I said it last week that we were
no, I'm really surprised this wasn't brought up. So did you hear the Calvin DeHaan news yesterday? The New York Rangers.
Right.
I think that should be worth noting. So for people who live under a rock and don't know, this literally happened yesterday.
I will bring it up. Okay.
Yeah, I'll just read it while you bring it up. So Molly Walker, who covers the New York Rangers, she tweeted this out after morning skate. That's what Calvin DeHaan said, but I want to backtrack first.
That's fine.
Molly Walker tweeted this out. She said, Rangers Calvin DeHaan walked past us as he was about to get on the ice and commented on how it's finally over. He said something to the effect of, how about the way I've been treated here? It's fucked. Excuse my language. We asked if he wanted to talk. He said yes, and that he would be very transparent. The next tweet that Molly Walker put out was that Calvin DeHaan came back to the media and said he will talk to the media after the season. So my guess is that he spoke with the public relations who didn't want him to talk, which I get. And then Calvin DeHaan responded. I don't remember who he was tweeting at when he responded to this.
He was just addressing. I think he was addressing.
Well, he put this in a in a reply to something to his own thing. So he
let me
put
just
this
see.
out.
I think
I
this
love
was
how we
initial
brought
tweet.
up. I love how we brought up the same thing.
Well, there you go. This was the initial tweet from Molly Walker that he
Correct.
mentioned. He said
Yep.
something like, how about the way I've been treated here this year? It's fucked. We asked if he wanted to talk. He said yes, and that he would be very transparent again after the season. So let's go back here. There's two posts.
Would you like me to read this
Yeah, if you want, go
for
ahead.
the people? So he goes, I didn't know he had a Twitter account, by the way. This is a fun fact. Fun fact, he has a Twitter account. Going to get ahead of this now. I was hoping that I would have been able to express in a scrum setting versus quote as I was going onto the ice and having it on the internet 30 seconds later. I said what I said because I am frustrated. And any competitor who says that they would be happy in this position would be lying to you. After playing 3 games for the team and going 2-0-1, I thought I maybe would have gotten an opportunity to jump into the lineup and help win some games. Did I help win those games I played? Maybe, maybe not. But we still won and collected some crucial points to climb in the standings. He's not wrong. I understand the youth movement in the NHL, and I'm getting older in hockey years and may not play every single night. I feel like I can still contribute to help teams win. I know I'm not going to play 20 minutes a night in the role I've been in the past few years, but again, I feel like I can still keep up and help a team in certain facets of the game. And so again, Calvin DeHaan said that he will talk more in depth.
This was to finish up the.
Yeah, I'm not trying to be the villain or gain attention or throw shade on the organization. I would have preferred a scrum setting to chat about how my time with the Rangers has gone. As a player, you have to respect the lineup decisions, whether you like them or not. It's just been frustrating not being able to compete and do what I love to do. I hope everyone understands.
There you go.
Let's just bring this up. Calvin DeHaan was playing with, I think, the Avalanche earlier this year.
No, it was. I believe it was Chicago. If I'm not mistaken.
It was Chicago,
right?
Yeah. And he makes. I mean, again, Calvin DeHaan brings up a good point about his situation because of the fact he played a lot more before he ended up going to the Rangers. He played 44 games with the Avalanche. I was right. With the Avalanche this year. Well, he's played for Avalanche. He hasn't played for the Blackhawks since 2021.
Anyway,
doesn't matter. He played 44 games and got 7 points. So he actually was pretty decent as a veteran depth defenseman. He gets traded to the Rangers and then barely plays. So I can understand exactly why he's frustrated, because in his mind, he's like, it's not clear. Why am I here?
What's the point?
Why did you trade for me and want me here and then not play me?
He's clearly a 5'6" at average defenseman. Like, he belongs to the NHL.
Right.
At that level. Agree. And the fact that they kind of dusted him like this is exactly it. Like, what the hell am I doing here?
And it just kind of it's kind of almost like the last major thing with the Rangers this year, because it's been nothing short of a disaster.
Kind of what Flames fans have been saying about Zane Parekh, but continue.
But again, it's just been a disaster of a year for the Rangers. You just look at how they've gone through the year, especially with all the stuff off the ice, right, including this. It's not a good look. And I feel bad for Calvin DeHaan that he had to do this, because otherwise
but now he can unload, right?
But now he can unload, and he will. He will most likely at the end of the season, a couple days from now, he will probably say what he wants to say.
Yeah.
And he might expose the Rangers a lot. He might. I don't know.
In due time, my friend. In due time.
In due time, for sure. But I just wanted to bring that up.
We got one more segment now left. It's not hockey related. I said it last week that we were gonna talk about the Masters last week and going into today, and that's how we're gonna finish the show today.
Sure.
And then we'll quickly touch upon again. We mentioned earlier in the show about what it means on Tuesday for the Flames. Let us know your predictions as well too. What you guys will think will happen on Tuesday. Again, just to let everybody know, if it goes the way that I think it could go and the Flames are alive for game 82 coming up on Thursday, I'm going to go live on THPN. I'm going to be a trooper, 10 o'clock Eastern. I'll be live for that game if it matters, right? Because I don't want to do it tomorrow night.
Right, and then just be like,
right.
Yep.
It's like third period comes along, shit, we're out of it now.
Yeah, right, exactly.
And then it's depressing for the next hour on the
Oh, yeah.
So if it goes the way we hope it's going to go, I'll be live on Thursday, and you guys check us out there on THPN. Okay, last segment. Let's quickly talk about what the fuck happened at the Masters yesterday. Because golf is everybody's pastime, apparently, in hockey, and we have to quickly touch about it. Congratulations to Rory McIlroy on a sensational weekend. It was a sensational day yesterday. The roller coaster of emotions was unfathomable. Like, I don't get emotional a lot, but I was yesterday after he won. To say it was a roller coaster is an understatement. It was like the fucking Leviathan at Canada's Wonderland. If anybody knows what that is, you should go look it up.
It's such a random thing to say.
It was truly a special day yesterday. And I kind of and it was funny, I kind of brought it back to hockey a little bit after yesterday, watching the Masters, and I'm like, man, imagine if they didn't have any phones in the playoffs this year at the games. Can you imagine? Can't bring your cell phones in, just enjoy the moment.
It would be hard.
It would be super hard, but doable, right? Because guess what?
Yeah.
Anyway, just an incredible day yesterday. There were so many storylines. There were so many twists and turns, and it started from Rory double bogeying the first hole and him having a 4-shot lead after 9, and then that awful wedge shot on 13 and put it in the water, and then Justin Rose goes on a birdie spree, and DeChambeau blows his brains out, and the Canadian Corey Connors was nowhere to be seen. He was third place entering yesterday, and all of a sudden he fell out of it.
Not even in the top 15.
No, he was 8th, tied for 8th yesterday, but still, he fell out of it. Completely fell out of it, and it was just. And then the way it finished, I mean, honestly, you think Rory has it wrapped up, and then, oh my God, he gets a 15 and he hits this incredible shot. Okay, he gets the birdie. He's up by 1. All right, he gets to friggin' 17. Okay, he gets a birdie. He's up by 1 again. All right, this is it. And then 18, it's like, well, shit, you had a 4-foot putt. You can't finish it. And I think after all that, and then the playoff to win it, I think it would have been more of a storyline had he blown it and lost yesterday. Than winning it. It's still significant. It's monumental. He's the 6th player ever to hit the career Grand Slam. But if he lost that yesterday, he might be on suicide watch.
It was.
That's hard to say, but go ahead.
It was really nerve-wracking, especially in the 18th hole when he just needed I don't even know how far he was out on that last putt.
I think he was 5 feet.
He was 5 feet, and it just curved to the left, and I'm just like, I said to my brother, I said, that's it. Rose is going to end up winning this. And then you go into the playoff, and on the second swing, Rose hits that chip, and it goes pretty damn close. And I was like, yeah, it's over.
It's over again.
It took Rory an even better chip that not only that it hit, but rolled back and put him in the driver's seat to still get it done. And it was crazy. But I agree. The bigger story would have been if Rory had completely choked it away. With arguably his best shot in his career of winning the Masters.
Right, because then you wonder, I don't think I don't know if he ends up ever again getting in that position, right? Because it's you got to battle those demons again. It was life or death yesterday for Rory. That's what it was almost,
sure.
Right? But still, it was an incredible day. It was a day where it was a where were you when, type moment. It was very emotional watching afterwards. It was hard to stay composed, but just really, really happy for him. And honestly, all the players yesterday put on an incredible performance. Everybody played super well in still at a place that's very tough conditions. And I think this leapfrogs Rory now into an interesting stratosphere for the rest of the way. And like I told Neil at the beginning of the show, I'm heading to the Canadian Open at the beginning of June. So
I also just want to say that my guy Ludwig Aberg actually ended up finishing in 7th.
I actually would have picked him to win. I like him a lot.
I'm telling you right now, he will eventually win it. At some point, because he's won every he played in college and all. He played in Europe, played in college. He's won at every level he's ever been at.
This was
a Grand Slam. That's always tough to say because it's hard because only 6 people have ever done it.
Well, so it's funny. The last time when Tiger completed the Grand Slam, that was 25 years ago. Before that, it was 45 years ago, 46, 45 years ago
Yeah.
around that when Tiger, or excuse me, I think it was Gary Player, I think, who got it in 1966.
Gary Player, correct? Yep.
So it like if that's gonna happen, the funny thing is coming up is the PGA Championship. Jordan Spieth can actually complete the Grand Slam at the PGA because he's won the British Open, the Masters, and the US Open. So he could still complete the Grand Slam, but he hasn't looked very good.
I think what was funny, though, for Aberg is that he could have finished higher in the standings, and it's just great. Sports Illustrated
I know.
wrote an article that said, Ludwig Aberg's last 2 holes at the Masters cost him $700,000. He would have made way much more money. And he unfortunately, like,
I think he bogeyed and then he triple bogeyed.
Bogeyed at the end. But you know what? It's the first time he's ever been there. Like, he's going to learn.
It's the second Masters he's been to.
Second
both
Masters.
times,
He's learning.
If you take away those last 2 holes, he would have finished in the top 5. He would have finished 3rd place, right?
Yep.
And like, that's what I mean. Like, he's gonna learn from this, and he's only gonna get better. He's a young kid.
You know what brought him bad luck, in my opinion? He was wearing a green hat and like a light green like shirt.
Yeah, that's not gonna do it.
I know it's like Adidas and like that's what they told him to wear, but like, no,
it's a tough look.
It's not, no. And you know what? I think it was interesting. Like, I think he was the only guy from the TGL, that thing that ESPN was doing, or that Sony was doing, that was competing in this tournament, because everyone else like wasn't competing. And I wonder if Scotty Scheffler was actually happy for Rory. He didn't smile the entire time.
No, I think he was, but he wanted to get out of the way because he knew, like, as a defending champion, like it's not your moment, right? Your moment came.
Also, he's probably still upset about his own performance. I mean, he finished in like what, 4th? He
should have. I still don't think he's been the same since his hand injury,
right?
But he's a guy that, to me, like, you could have picked a numerous amount of guys to win, but I think it all circles back to why Rory had to win it this year. It's because Scotty wasn't 100%. It's because
DeChambeau wasn't 100%.
DeChambeau was really the only path. And I don't think a lot of people expected Justin Rose to play the way that he did, especially how he finished yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, there was really no excuse anymore for Rory to this was it. It felt like this was his best opportunity, and he got the job done in a very, very weird way. But you
know what? It's not about how you start. It's about how you finish. And he got it done in a weird way, and kind of going back to the Flames, they might get in a very weird way.
What do you think's going to happen on Tuesday? Let's wrap this up with some predictions. What do you think's going to happen Tuesday?
I think that we're going to win. I think we'll find a way. Because again, I think they do. I know that they've had just so much struggles against Vegas this year. But I think it'll just be a little bit different, because I don't think the Golden Knights will be 100%. I don't think they'll put all of their effort into it.
Yeah.
And I think the Flames, I think especially if you're getting early word that, like, let's say Minnesota's losing and St. Louis losing, like you put it, I think it'll just take them to another level. But you can't focus on that. You can only focus on your own job. But I'm going to say the Flames win. I'm going to say 4-2. 4-2.
It's tough to make a prediction, because you don't know who's going to be in the lineup come Tuesday. If the Golden Knights go in and they're resting guys, I think there's no excuse. I think the Flames have to find a way to win, because I think I would imagine the Golden Knights probably end up playing Akira Schmidt again.
I think that's the likely scenario, that they'll probably play him. I could see him playing the last 2 games of the year.
I can see it too.
Because he hadn't been playing up until now, so might as well.
I might as well too. I think there's a way that he probably plays, but I think the way I see it shaping out, listen, I doubted these guys the last 2 weeks because I thought it was over. I can't do that anymore. So I've got them winning. I think they win in something stupid like overtime or I shouldn't say that. I think they win in a shootout. Out of all the stupid ways to win, I think
ways to win, you get it done in a shootout. Nice.
I think they find a way to win in a shootout. but it's nerve-wracking because if that goes their way, it's not a regulation win, and they have to see what happens. I've got a feeling that the team that we're not going to pay attention to the most is going to be Minnesota, because like that's not the best likelihood that we think is going to fall or if we need to pass.
It ends up being the one that ends up.
I feel like it could end up being Minnesota.
That's the thing. We're looking
Right.
at it like we're disregarding Minnesota because we're like, oh, they just need a point. So
Right.
like, yeah, but at the same time, and they're playing the Ducks, but at the same time, they could very well just come out and play like crap.
We don't know.
And I've seen the Ducks upset teams all year. They've done it a million times this year.
Yeah. There's so many fascinating things that are going to happen on Tuesday. So I'll say 4-3 in a shootout, but I don't know at this point because this team surprises all goddamn year. So make sure you guys check us out. We'll be back on Thursday. It'll either be a really good conversation or a
sad one.
Or it's going to be a sad one on Thursday.
Sad one.
So it'll either be a season-ending episode on Thursday or a winner take and a win and you're in situation on Thursday. One of the two.
Yeah.
Back on Thursday to wrap up the regular season.
Sure.
We'll wrap up whatever happens on Tuesday. Thank you guys for listening and checking us out again, as always. And again, if it goes the way we think it's going to go, I'll go live for THPN on Thursday. We'll also be live, myself and Neil, a lot coming up anyway for THPN stuff. I'm going to do some with him with the Devils and Carolina Hurricanes coming up, so be sure to check that out. We're going to do Colorado, Dallas already, too. That's an exciting series that we're really excited to cover. Playoffs are always a good time of year to cover some good playoff games, and they always do well. So come hang out with us when those come and go, and make sure to keep the schedule open on our YouTube channel as well to see what's coming up very soon. Playoffs start on the weekend, my friend. The season is not over yet. We'll see you all tomorrow night for the season. Could be the season ending. Who knows? We'll see you all tomorrow night. We'll see you again Thursday for either the doom and gloom from the Calgary Flames. Have a great rest of your Monday, everybody. We'll see you then. Later guys.